All right, this happened a little while ago while cutting up some scraps. Don't worry, there's no blood involved. Take a look. All right, so why did this happen? Well, clearly in the video, you can see the workpiece move a little bit. It was not clamped down and not properly supported. I typically don't have my track saw actually clamped down every time. I usually use the rubber feet underneath to keep it steady, but my workpiece is usually always clamped down. In this case, it was not, and it moved. And the reason I believe this piece moved was because it was a piece of maple, so a little bit harder to cut through. Whereas, like, if it was a piece of pine, that would have been a lot easier to cut through. And I think that's where I messed up, where I was cutting pieces of pine before that, switched over to maple, and that did not go as planned. So you always got to remember to clamp your pieces down and make sure everything's good to go and safe for each cut. Some ways to prevent this, obviously, clamp your piece down. What I'm going to be doing is adding in a track saw hinge. There are a few that I have found that are DIY versions, so I'm going to test those out first to see if I can kind of get away with saving some money on it. So make sure you're subscribed to check those videos out coming up. If you're not feeling comfortable with a cut, it's usually for a good reason. You can see my workbench here is all cut up along here just because I have not used like a spoiler board underneath and didn't really care. Some of these holes are actually off center, so I knew I was going to eventually replace it. But recently doing some cuts along this edge, because there's so many divots, the workpiece starts, after you cut, starts to dip in like that, and I could feel it grab on the track saw. So before anything will happen to that, I will be replacing it. Down below here, I've already started the process. But again, that's kind of one of those situations where I don't feel comfortable using this anymore, so I'm going to correct that. Obviously, there are more ways a track saw can cause kickback, through either a plunge cut or not having a riving knife on the back. But this is my experience that I had with kickback. So you want to make sure you are careful with all cuts that you do. Make sure to check out some of my other videos on my channel where I don't cause kickback and build some cool furniture. Stay safe in the shop, and as always, I'll see you all on the next video.